real world rule of money for today is something called dollar cost averaging. In lesson 18, we talked a little bit about dollar cost averaging, of how from one perspective it almost kind of gives you the feeling, as we talked in lesson 18 again, about how it can bring down the average price of an investment, a share of a mutual fund or a stock, by dollar cost averaging, is putting in a certain amount every month. But then even a more powerful explanation of dollar cost averaging is looking at these two graphs here. If you look at the graph on the left, this would be the example of an increasing market, and the graph to the right would be a volatile market. So if you asked anybody which they would prefer to invest in, it probably wouldn't be much of a question. Is they would look at the one on the left and say, well, I'd much rather invest in the one on the left because it's always going up. Well, that's the difference between lump sum investing and dollar cost averaging. If we only put in $10 one time at the very beginning, our $10 on the graph on the left becomes 12, and then it becomes 15. And obviously we would cash out at 15 and we'd be excited. Where the one on the right, when we cashed out, we'd only have $5. But the concept here is not lump sum investing. It would be consistently investing over a consistent amount of time. And so the power in dollar cost averaging is what it does in a rising market and also a volatile market. So this just being one example that can be applied in your own life. It could be taught to somebody else. We have excuse me, multiple different people that will be listening to the Impact School of Money. Some that are in the financial profession, some that aren't, some that just want to learn. So let's look at some actual numbers to kind of teach this concept. It's looking at the graph on the left. If we were to consistently put $100 a month into this account, and each of these numbers as the graph increases represents a month. First month we put in $100. Each share, if this is a mutual fund or a stock or an investment that's measured in shares, the first month it's $10 per share. We're able to get 10 shares. The next month we put in $100. Now the price per share is $12, and we're only able to purchase 8.3 shares of the same stock mutual fund because price has now gone up. Next month we put in $100 again. The price is $15 per share. We're only able to get 6.7 shares. So what does this do at the end? We have 25 total shares. 10 plus 8.3 plus 6.7. We sell at that point at $15 a share. We get $375. But after we subtract out our $300 that we invested over 3 months, $100 over 3 months, we have a $75 profit, which that's not bad. If this was a real scenario, that wouldn't be a bad deal. We look at the one on the right, and same scenario. We put in $100, $10 per share. We're able to buy 10 shares that month. The next month, and you can probably already start to see where this is going to go, the next month we put in our $100 again at $1 per share. We have 100 shares that we buy that month. The next month, the market doesn't even go back up to where it was. It just goes up halfway to where it was. We put in our same $100 at $5 a share. We get 20 more shares. Now, what's interesting about the reality of with human emotion and some of the people that I've worked with over the years is that first month they put in their $100 at $10 a share. They have 10 shares. They're excited. The next month it goes down to $1 a share, and they put in no money because the market's down. They don't want to put in anything, and they're actually thinking about taking out their first $100 now that it's gone down to $1 per share because of the volatility of the market. But as you can see with the math we're about to do, as we did with the graph on the left, how powerful dollar cost averaging can be. Of course, nobody can ever exactly time the market, but showing what consistency of investing does over time, because as we do the math, we have 130 total shares in the graph on the right. We cash out after 3 months at $5 a share. We end up with $650. $650, and the market hasn't even come back up halfway. We subtract out the $300 that we invested, and we have a $350 profit. Now, again, this is a hypothetical scenario. This isn't going to be exactly what it would do over a 3-month period. There's no way to predict it. There's no way to know for sure. But here's the thing that people do know for sure. What they do know is that they want to retire someday. What they do know is what their budget looks like every month. And if they're disciplined, they should be able to have an amount that they could realistically set aside each month. And the challenge with human beings, as I've said in multiple lessons, is that emotions kick in and they stop being consistent with the $100. Where this is more of a logic play and a somewhat of a not necessarily a buy and hold strategy, but a buy and continue buying strategy, where that $100 becomes very consistent every month. Excuse me. Sometimes the shares are on sale. Sometimes they're priced high. And again, some months we're buying more shares and some months we're not. So that today is our real world rule of money.